Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out my new SCX24 Competition Build. Okay, to start off this build, I am going to be using the LGRP, Little Guy Raving Parts comp frame. And basically a lot of these parts are going to be from Little Guy Raving Parts on this build, but there's a couple of other different brands that I'll go over and I'll show you how I set this up exactly. Taking a closer look at the exterior, you can see that I will be running a J-Concepts F-150 body. I believe this is only about $25 and it ended up fitting my rig perfectly. I actually ended up shortening the chassis on this build by quite a bit. The stock chassis actually stuck out to about right here. I was getting some trouble when I was going up steep inclines that the rear of the vehicle was catching on different obstacles and making it really hard to get up. Other than that, I had to do some major trimming in order to make sure that my articulation didn't catch on the body itself. And then I added a custom light bar on there. I believe this is for a JLU, so it mounts directly to the windshield. As always, I will be running the 65mm comp pin tires from Injora, and I also threw on some 12-spoke Injora brass beadlock wheels. These are very good. They actually come with a brass ring on the inside of it, and I actually run the LGRP Ghost wheels for when I do off-roading. Taking a peek under the hood, I ended up printing out a custom rear hinge mount for this, so that way I can pop it open and close, and then I actually was able to get it a little bit recessed, so that way the body doesn't stick so high up, so it keeps my center of gravity pretty low. Axles, I will be using the LGRP Super 8 axles, and the steering angle on these things is absolutely nuts. As you can see, you have a very large degree, I believe it's about 43 degrees of turn on this rig, and then also paired with the Shift Nano M servo right here, and with the Shift Nano M servo horn, you're going to be getting some very fast speeds out of this. I can actually show you. So just check out the speed on this, and this is for a 24th build. As you can see, very fast. Shocks, I will be using the LGRP telescoping 58mm shocks right here. These are the best shocks that I have found for SCX24 builds, as I have very little binding out of them. I've used other brands, but I found that the LGRP ones actually bind the least. As you can see, I have a great amount of articulation coming out of this. I'll also be using LGRP front steering knuckles that are made out of brass. That's just going to help keep the CG as low as possible. And then I also added in an LGRP front limiting strap mount that mounts directly to the servo right here. As far as electronics goes, I will be using a Spectrum SR215 that hooks up to my Spectrum DX5C, a Furitek Lizard Pro ESC, and then a Furitek Microchromoto brushless motor. Transmission wise, I will be using the new LGRP transmission that I ended up getting with my competition frame. It works very well, and then I also will be using the hardened steel drive shafts from LGRP as well. To help keep that center of gravity very low, I ended up adding on some LGRP brass differential weights, as you can see right here in the front and the rear. I also added in some patty weights in the rear of the vehicle, as because a lot of my electronics are mounted towards the front, so that's going to help keep the rear of the vehicle pretty low. I also ended up opting for a brass center plate from LGRP, and then I added some Treel side weights that mount directly through the billet aluminum side skirts from LGRP. Looking at the vehicle from a side perspective, you can see that I have most of my weight dispersed to the outsides and as low as possible. This is just going to help keep that center of gravity low, so when you're going over different obstacles, you're not going to want to be constantly tipping over. As always, I'll put a link to everything on this build in the description box below, and please consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section down below if you have any questions, and let's get to some videos of this running on the course.